All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that breakout session, that networking time. Let me know in the comment section in the chat where you all are watching me from. I love the interaction, so I definitely want to make sure that I present as much information to you all as possible, and allow you to ask questions so that I can answer those questions in real time. So definitely let me know in the comment section, in the chat section, where you guys are watching from today. Awesome. Chuck is in Germantown. Awesome. Cool. Local. I love my DMV residents. I'm in the Fredericksburg, Virginia area. So anybody that's in the DMV, we can definitely uh, connect because there's so many of us here. So today I'm going to be talking about YouTube, using YouTube to promote your ministry. I do have a poll going on right now as well. So as you're coming into the room, or maybe you're watching this by replay, if you could let me know in the poll, does your ministry use YouTube? So right now, today, does your ministry use YouTube? Because that's what we're going to be talking about in today's session. Okay. So let me make sure I got my slides ready to go. I believe you guys can hear me great. So if anything happens on the technical side, just let me know. But let's get into it. I definitely have a lot of information that I want to cover for you all in a short amount of time. Okay. So let's get started. All right. If Just a reminder too, as you guys are on social media and sharing this out, maybe you're attending and just want to share it with your community, make sure you use the hashtag Rethinking Church. That way, the message of this gets spread to more and more people. Okay. So quick introduction about myself. I started in the church media IT back in the days of the overhead projector. If you guys remember the little plastic pieces of paper you put up there and it projects on the screen. I've been doing that in the tape ministry. So I've been in the digital tech side of the church for a long time, for as long as I can remember growing up. Currently, I serve as a lead technician, a lead media director for my church, and this is the second church that I've done so. So I've been able to see different leadership styles. I've been able to see different equipment styles. I've been able to see the transition of how it's embraced by the congregations as well. Okay. And one of the things that I teach is this SERVE principle, and it stands for strategy, education, results, value, and the ability to evolve. And that's really what I want you guys to take away from this entire summit is just the ability to evolve with digital, because it's constantly changing. There's constantly new applications coming out, software, equipment itself. So I want you to just keep in mind that things are going to change, and we have to keep up with the changes. And as we can see, what happened in 2020, if you weren't keeping up with the changes of live streaming, you were left behind and you had to play catch up really, really quickly. So just the ability to evolve is a principle that I teach when it comes to leveraging the power of digital. All right. So in the comment section, I want you all to let me know some of the YouTube channels that you're subscribed to, some of the ministries that you're subscribed to on YouTube, because this is going to allow me to better understand how you're using YouTube as a viewer. Because if you understand how you use YouTube as a viewer, you'll be able to use YouTube as a producer of content, as well as a ministry leader that is putting out information onto the platform that people actually want to watch and consume. So let me know in the comments section some of the channels that you're actually watching or subscribed to on YouTube. I see Chuck says that Sunday School Girl. Okay, not familiar with that one, but I know there's a lot of people on YouTube, right? There's lots of people on YouTube. Here's just some of the few of the channels that I'm subscribed to. TD Jakes, well-known, popular, right? A lot of us are maybe subscribed to. I see Alfred Street, Bethel AME, right? But I'm not only subscribed to just large churches. I'm subscribed to a smaller church out of Detroit called a Place of Change, APAC. High Calling Ministries, which is a local church to me, Dare to Imagine Church. These are smaller churches that aren't popular, but they're churches that I'm subscribed to on their YouTube channels because I love their content. I love their message. And I'm physically not close enough to attend their churches on a regular basis. So being able to watch them online is my alternative. And this is why I really love YouTube. Now, I asked earlier, for those that are coming in, does your ministry use YouTube? And I have a poll going on, because if you do not use YouTube at all, maybe you've set it up and you've never used it. But if you're actively not using YouTube, I am going to highly encourage you to use YouTube by the time we're done with this session for a multitude of reasons. Okay. Now, we're going to get through a lot of information today. As you guys have questions, if there's something I'm talking about and you have a question, definitely feel free to chat that. I love the interaction. I love to be able to give you guys answers in real time. We're going to be talking about YouTube, obviously, and some of the basics behind the platform. We're going to talk about equipment. We're going to talk about some of the strategies that you can use for YouTube, whether you're a large ministry or a small ministry. I love my small ministries because you really can use YouTube to your advantage. We're going to talk about monetization. And this is not tithes and offerings. You can monetize the YouTube platform itself. And that is huge when you don't have to rely on donations. You don't have to always ask for the next offering or the next fundraiser. You can monetize the YouTube platform itself. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And then we're going to do some Q&A, so just some open Q&A to make sure you guys are able to leave this session with practical tips and things that you can actually put into place going forward this week. Okay. And if you guys don't mind as well, just let me know how many congregants you might have in your church, how many people follow you currently. That will definitely help me kind of tailor this content directly towards you, because I understand that there are large churches that may have a staff that can run their entire IT department or run their entire media department. And then there's other pastors and preachers and ministers that I work with where they're a solo operation. They literally have to do everything. And there's ways to do that streamline your process so that you can focus on delivering your message and also get the message actually out there using digital. So if you guys put in your congregate sizes, that definitely helps me as well as we go through this. All right. So why YouTube? Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that. So why YouTube? Well, first of all, it's a free platform. Okay. It's a free platform that we can leverage. And you're going to hear this word go around a lot today. It's called content. It's putting the information out there. And there are over 2 billion active users on the YouTube platform. Okay. So it's free. Now, I'm not going to bash any other social media platforms today, but I do heavily prefer YouTube as the place to live stream or to put your messages. And we're going to talk about why. You can easily archive your sermons, your messages, your events on YouTube. You can easily go back and find, okay, what did I teach about last year at this time? By going into your YouTube Studio Manager is what it's called, and actually seeing the title of that sermon or that video that you created. You don't have to scroll through weeks and weeks of posts like you do on such platforms as Facebook or, long form platforms where you may record it and then you put it on some website and then you forget where it's actually linked to. YouTube is a place that you can actually use it as a library content house if you want to, and you can actually have information that's public. So I love the flexibility of how you can actually leverage YouTube to your advantage. And it will allow you to reach a brand new audience. Okay. I know ministries want to grow. And one of the ways that you grow is by talking to new people, not talking to the same people over and over again. You want the people that are already part of your community to find your content, to watch your services online. But there is a greater majority of people that you're actually trying to reach, trying to connect with. And that is the power of YouTube, because anyone can find your video as long as they're on YouTube. At any time, your video can populate, whether that's a live video, whether that's a pre-recorded live video, whether that video is just something that you wanted to speak your message on a Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. and you just want to upload it on the platform. Anybody can find your message on YouTube, and that's the power of it. All right, so growing with YouTube, I want you all to think about what people are searching for on YouTube, especially my pastors and my ministers, those of you all that are delivering the message. I want you to start to think more so about what people are looking for. Because as we're trying to reach an audience on YouTube, we can get all the the spiritual, we can get caught up in the spiritual so much that we forget the practical side of things. And today I'm going to be talking practical to you all because this is how YouTube works. Okay. This is how the actual platform of YouTube works. We need to think about what people are actively looking for on the platform so that we can get found, so our messages can be seen. Okay. We don't want to really have to spend hours and hours and hours trying to get YouTube to work for us. And I'm going to show you some examples. We want to upload on a regular basis. Now, whether that's daily in some cases, those of you all that go live daily, maybe it's a morning devotional, you can go live on YouTube for your morning devotionals. Whether that's twice a week, maybe it's a midweek service and a Sunday service or a Saturday service, you can go live on there regularly, or at a minimum once a week, because we need to upload content regularly to the YouTube platform. You want to create engaging content. All right. Now I'm looking at the numbers as you guys are coming in here, and I see 40 and I see 35 congregants. So what that tells me is that in most cases, those numbers, you may not have the physical doors of your church open right now, or maybe when you go back to opening the doors, not everyone is going to immediately come. And so what you want to do is think about, in a setting similar to what I'm doing. If I'm ministering, if I'm giving a message, I want to be able to interact and engage with my audience, because we want the interaction in the chat to happen. We want people to say, hey, I'm learning something, or this is great, or amen, right? We need that call and response. And the only way you can get that call and response is if you create engaging content, rather than just talking to a lens and just shooting your message and not really understanding what your audience wants or needs at that time. Because you'll find that on YouTube, especially when you live stream for smaller churches, you're going to see that the interaction in chat will allow you to know if your message is effective. And that's what we have to do. We have to communicate what the people need, not necessarily what we want. And being able to leverage a platform like YouTube will allow you to see that in real time, which is something that I really love about this platform. So if you guys have a desire to reach more people, and I know you do, just let me know. Just give me a yes. This should be a self-explanatory question. If you just want to reach more people, just let me know yes, because this is a platform that allows you to do it. I want to show you a perfect example why. Bernice, good to see you here as well. Solomon, I see you. I created this video and I put it up on YouTube, of all places, back in March, and it was called Live Streaming for Churches with Free Software. And if you've seen this video, just type in video or something in the comments if you've seen this video. And when I created this video, I knew there was a need for churches in my local area that were not online. They didn't know how to live stream. The world was shutting down. They had no idea what to do. So in my mind, I created this video for my local church. And I want you guys to follow me here. Not expecting, not anticipating, not even caring if other people really saw it. It was, I needed to provide a solution to my local ministers and pastors. And when I put this video up, not only did they find this video, but almost 250,000 views later, people all across the world found this video. This was a message. This was an answer to a problem that people needed, okay? And when you're creating content, when you're delivering your sermons and your messages, and you're leveraging the YouTube platform, we want to make sure that we do some of the technical things that gets our message seen by the people that actually need to see the message. YouTube does a wonderful thing of breaking down analytics and data for you. What I know about my audience, and this is something that you're going to learn about your audience as well. You're going to think that your audience may be a certain demographic of people. Maybe it's a certain gender bias or gender majority, or a certain age group or age range, or even location. Okay. YouTube was worldwide. And what I found that is on YouTube, I actually have a greater audience outside of the United States. Okay. 40% of my audience is in the United States, and 60% of my audience that watches my content on YouTube is outside of the US. Now, as someone that leverages the YouTube platform, I would assume, and because as I'm a business owner as well, and my audience that I work with is primarily in the United States, that my 90% of my audience may be in the United States. But YouTube gives you analytics and data so that you can make sure that you're saying the right thing to the right people. You have the right message for the right person. This is the power of digital in the age that we're living in right now. Okay. So YouTube analytics is going to be something that you can definitely tap into more and more and more as you're using the platform. Now, as you're creating your videos, as you're creating content for YouTube specifically, you want to create titles that are searchable and that people are actually typing in. I don't want you to have to create new titles. I don't want you to come up with these grandiose titles that you think are effective. You can put that in another section of YouTube. We'll talk about that in a second. But the titles is really what's going to get your message seen by viewers on YouTube. And here's an example of that. And I'm using what's going on in current day society right now. There's a lot of things going on. And if you go to YouTube right now and you just type in the search bar, how to deal, you'll find a lot of different subjects that people are actively typing into YouTube that they're looking for an answer to. And if we're in ministry, and if we're called to be an answer, if we're called to be there to help and to heal and consult and someone to confide in, we need to be the ones that are showing up on some of these searches. How to deal with anxiety, how to deal with depression, how to deal with loneliness, how to deal with anger. If you're in ministry and you're a leader, I am sure you have talked about this subject, but you've probably talked about this in a fancy way, a fancy title that's a language that people don't understand on YouTube because we're not typing in that fancy title. We're typing in how to deal with anxiety. And the reason I know that is because YouTube is telling me that. It's telling me that 60,000 people a month are typing in how to deal with anxiety. And if you're leveraging YouTube and you're a pastor or you're a counselor or you're someone that can answer this question, we need to create YouTube videos, or we need to take our existing Sunday morning services or our Bible study services, and we need to simply title that as how to deal with anxiety. That is the sermon title. That is the message title to get discovered on YouTube. Because I don't do YouTube just to be putting content out there, because as you guys saw in the agenda, there's ways to monetize YouTube with the information, with the value that you're bringing to a YouTube audience. So don't get creative on all your titles, your sermon titles. YouTube is telling you what the people want, and it's our job to help the people on the YouTube platform. Okay. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. If this is resonating with you guys, if this is making sense, give me a yes in the comment section in the chat. Next section on YouTube that you want to pay attention to when you're creating videos or you're live streaming is the description section. This is where you can get a little bit more creative. This is where you can let the spirit lead you a little bit more on that creative title that you just have to use, because this is where you can put in a paragraph or two about what this video was all about. Okay, if there is a revelation that you've received, or if there are scriptures that you want to reference, this is the section that you put that information in. This allows people to go and read it, understand it, have a clearer understanding of it, and you can maximize this description space on YouTube. This is also where you want to put in relative information about your ministry, whether that's other social media platforms that you all are using. That way people can easily click a button and connect with you. Maybe it's your website, maybe it's your phone number, maybe it's a course or a class or some other piece of content that you want to reference for people to be easily able to see your video and click on it and go to that next destination, okay? If your church is growing an email list, this is an awesome way to grow an email list as well. Maybe they want to sow to your ministry. You want to make sure you put a link in the description that people can click on it and sow to your ministry as well. So your description section is going to be a major part of your content. It's more than just going live to the platform. If you want to maximize YouTube and grow an audience of people around the world, you're going to want to spend a little time in the YouTube description section. And you don't have to create something new every single week. The only new part is a new title and a new little paragraph of what this video is going to be about. And if you want to add those scripture references in there as well, you can do that as well. Okay. So that description section is going to be key for you. Next section is called tags. And tags are going to be other relative words, other relative phrases to your title. And so if our title was how to deal with anxiety, it would be, our tags would be anxiety, how to deal with anxiety for kids, how to deal with anxiety for men, how to deal with anxiety for women. All these phrases that are searchable on YouTube. Again, not creating this fancy spiritual language. It's thinking about what do we as users, what do you as a user go to YouTube and type in to that top menu bar, okay? We want to keep it so simple so that our videos are actually getting seen, because we need our messages to be heard, okay? Especially if you're looking to grow on the platform. Next one is thumbnails. Now, I know if you're not into graphics like myself, thumbnails can be a challenge. I am not a graphical person, but I do create my own graphics when it comes to YouTube because there's so many different apps that you can use, and you guys will hear about that today. I'm sure there's going to be people talking about graphic design and apps that you can use. But you do not want to skip out on your thumbnails, because as we're scrolling through YouTube, this is one of the first things that's going to make us want to click on your video. It's going to be that phrase on the actual thumbnail, okay? It's going to be that picture that makes us click. It's going to be something that intrigues us, that makes us want to click. And I want you to put yourself in a user's perspective right now. When you scroll through YouTube, what makes you click? What is a video that stands out? What are the elements of a video that stand out that make you want to click on it, okay? And some of the things that you can consider are your brand colors, making sure that you're consistent with your brand colors. Fonts, okay? Don't get creative on fancy fonts that people can't read on their mobile devices because they're really, really small. You want to use bold, clear, easy to read fonts, okay? You want to think about facial expression. So if you're a small minister or small ministry and you have the time to take your own pictures, you want to sit in front of the camera and take pictures, or if someone is actually taking pictures for you while you're ministering, you want to use pictures. They don't have to be the day of pictures. They can be pictures that you've had previously. And you want to create these thumbnails that people actually want to click on, okay? If it's talking about anxiety or anger, and you're a small ministry, you definitely can use a facial expression of anger, what that looks like. It gets people to want to click. You're touching that emotion that people feel like they can resonate with you and your video when they click on it. So your thumbnail is something that's going to be very important to actually get that initial click to your video, because that's what we're creating this content for. Again, if you want to grow using YouTube. If you just want to use YouTube as a place to store your videos, you don't have to worry about any of this. You can just upload a video and just store it. But if you want people in your local community to find you, if you want people in other states to find you, if you want people around the world to find your videos, these things matter, because we don't know who you are. We have no idea who you are on YouTube. Until we click on the video and we hear your voice or we see your service, you're just like everyone else to us. So you have to create these things on YouTube to stand out so that you can actually get your videos seen. One of the things that as new YouTubers do, we forget to engage with our audience, so, down in the comments section or in the chat, if you're live, sometimes we forget to engage with our audience. And if you're growing YouTube, there's this button called the subscribe button. And you want to make sure that you say, if you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, click on the red subscribe button. I cannot tell you how effective just mentioning that is. Even if you have a larger ministry and you're back in your pulpits and you're standing on stage, when you're addressing the camera, you want to make sure that you address your live streaming audience. Do not leave out your live streaming audience. They're important. They're there. They're showing up. They're supporting you. Make sure that you take a time out and just say, hey, thank you, live stream audience, for watching us. If you're watching us here on YouTube, make sure you click that red subscribe button. Go ahead and share this out as well. You want to make sure that people are subscribing to your channel. When you come to a YouTube channel and you see 5 viewers there or 5 subscribers there, it doesn't show a lot of credibility, okay? But if I see 1,500 subscribers there, it seems like you're doing some work. You know, people actually want to watch your content. So whether you're small or whether you're large, you definitely want to make sure that you start asking for people to subscribe to your channel. One of the things that YouTube allows you to do is real-time chat. And real-time chat is allowing you to see that interaction with who is actually there. If you're a small minister, you can actually see this on your screen as you're ministering. One of the things I like to do at my ministry is sometimes we'll actually put this on our screen in the back of the church so our pastor can actually see who is chatting, who is actually showing up, what questions do they have, especially for a midweek service, because we do a lot of engagement for our midweek service. So you can actually see who is chatting with you, who is commenting, who is engaging with you. And I love this feature. This is also a place in the chat feature where you can put in clickable links. So again, if there's a donation page that you need to take people to, if there's a website for an event that you need to take people to, you can easily put in a clickable URL where people can click on it in the comment section and go to that specific link. And you can also receive feedback, which is something we've talked about as well. If people are really engaged or if they have questions, you can be able to see them in real time. Now I want to kind of transition over to technology. Those of you all that have purchased some equipment this year, let me know. Type in the comments in the chat area what type of equipment that you purchased this year, because we've all had to go and focus our efforts online. And as we go into this year and as we go into the next year and the next year, online is something that's here to stay. So you're going to have to make sure that you incorporate that into your regular services in the building, and then also knowing that you have an audience online, because the reality is some people are not walking back through the doors. And I know it's tough for people to hear that are in ministry leadership, but some people are going to watch you online. And again, if you want to grow on YouTube, chances are the majority of your audience is not even going to be physically able to come to your ministry because they live in a different state. They live in a different country. They live in a different time zone. So we are going to want to still watch you, but we don't want you to leave us because now all of a sudden the doors are open and you forget about online streaming. People are used to this now. So make sure that you continue to incorporate live streaming into your digital workflow as we're going forward. So I see lighting come up there. I know I saw webcam. I think I saw pop up there for a little bit. Awesome. So technology has changed. I remember these days where you take your services and you put them on the CDs and you put them on the cassette tapes. I remember taking tapes, physical VHS tapes to the TV stations and getting those put on TV as well. But now we have the ability to literally create our own TV broadcast using free software and low-cost equipment or equipment that you already have. I see Claudette says she got the Apple iPhone 12. Awesome camera on that. Perfect quality on that. Like, you literally cannot tell the difference in some cases unless you're like a tech guru junkie like me that actually can kind of tell a little bit of the difference. But the quality of these cameras on the phones now are incredible. There's no reason not to have some type of equipment that you can live stream and put on a great looking broadcast, because we're the church, we're the ministry. We should look good, not just the suit anymore. We should actually look good with our actual setup and our digital setup now, okay? So technology has changed. So you guys have mentioned some of these items here. And if you're at home, you can easily turn a small space into a YouTube studio, a Facebook studio as well, using your laptop, using a webcam I have there, using a professional sounding microphone so that we can actually hear you. I watch a lot of church ministries that I get to work with, the befores and the afters. And when you can't hear the message, there's a problem. I'm going to click off of YouTube and I'm going to go to someone else that I can actually hear the message. If you don't look good on camera and the lighting is off and we can't see you because you blend in with the background, it's just not enticing. We're going to click off and we're going to go somewhere else. So when you're thinking about YouTube, I want you to just think about live streaming in general, because your lighting matters, your microphone matters. You don't have to go out and get the latest and greatest, but we do need to hear you and we need to see you in order for us to stay connected to you, because there are other ministries that are smaller than yours that are doing this effectively. And the reason I know is because I set these up on a regular basis. Okay. You don't need a whole production staff to do this. You literally can do this by yourself. Lighting does matter. These are some other live stream platforms that are out there. I'm not talking about live streaming today. I'm just talking about YouTube. If I had more time, I would dive into this. But there are a lot of platforms that allow you to live stream effectively and put on some great looking broadcasts for YouTube, where it looks like you're in a studio. It looks like you can, it looks like you have a whole crew behind you. You can put up graphics at the bottom of your screen. You can put lower thirds at your bottom of your screen with the scriptures. You can do video, incorporate video into it. You can do, I'm not going to get into some of my strategies. I'll get into that a little bit later on here, but you can do a lot with these software platforms. One of the ones that I talk about in the video that I mentioned a little bit earlier is called OBS, Open Broadcaster Studio. The icon is the one in the bottom left-hand corner. That is a free platform that you install on your computer that allows you to create some awesome looking broadcasts that you can put on YouTube. And a lot of people are moving over to TV when they're watching YouTube as well. So I want you to keep that in mind, that when people are watching your broadcast at home and they're watching it on TV on the big 55-inch screen, you want to look good. And so again, it goes back to lighting matters, audio matters, because now you're not just on a mobile device. You're not just on a tablet or computer screen. You're actually creating TV broadcasts at this point where people are actually watching your messages as if they're just watching a normal TV station. Technology has changed, okay? Digital has changed. All right, I want to definitely make sure I get to some Q&A here while we can. Couple strategy I want you to think about for YouTube is you have the ability to go live. So you turn on the camera, you hit go live, and as soon as you hit that button, you are talking to your audience. And you also have the ability to do pre-recorded live videos. And this was a huge strategy that we used for some of my medium-sized churches, is because they couldn't get their whole choirs together, their whole praise and worship teams together. So we created pre-recorded videos that we incorporated into our live videos for YouTube. So the viewers never know the difference. All they know is they're not able to come into the doors. They're just watching service from home and not knowing that the choir actually came in on Saturday and the pastor, he did his sermon on Saturday night, and the media team, we just put it together and played the whole broadcast in one shot. So there are so many different, and you can do this for free. That's the free stuff that you can actually do. So there's so many different ways that you can leverage YouTube. You have live video, and you can actually do pre-recorded live video as well, because there's going to be people all around the world that want to watch the message that you have for them. Email lists and communications. If you actively have an email list, I highly encourage you to send out the links to your YouTube videos in your email list. That way people can actually see that you're there. They can actually go and watch. Maybe it's those visitors where you got that piece of paper from them and they put down all their information and their email address. You can actively communicate with them by putting in the YouTube link of your latest sermon in your email communications. And then I love YouTube because of the fact that you can use YouTube as what I call long form to short form. And what that means is if you're actively using platforms like Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and TikTok, right, you can actually take your YouTube long form video that you sat down or that you stood in front of the pulpit and you delivered this message, And you can take excerpts out of that video and then put that on your other social platforms. Because as you go throughout the summit, you're going to learn all these digital things, and it might seem overwhelming, because trust me, it can be. But if you make it simple, if you make your digital workflow simple, it allows you to do a lot with a little. Okay. If you do focus on YouTube long form, and let's say you're doing an hour service, you can take out little 3-minute clips and put those on your other social media platforms. And you're not doing a hard, heavy lift trying to put content everywhere, because if you're focusing on all these platforms individually, it can be tough. But just taking a little 3-minute clip out of each video that you do on a midweek service or a full-on service definitely allows you to put content on other social media platforms a lot easier. Monetization. If anyone is interested in monetization on YouTube, just type in money. Maybe not the best way to put that for Ministry Summit today, but that's the reality of it. As doors have closed, people don't know how to give online. People aren't writing checks to send them in the mail to the post office, and tithes and donations have gone down. But there are some ministries that I've worked with where they've actually gone up. And it's because we leveraged not only the technology of teaching the congregants how to give online, but you start to leverage YouTube, the platform itself. Okay. All right. I got some monies coming in, so I can talk to a few of you guys. Okay. A few of you guys and ladies. YouTube pays content creators. And that's how I kind of want you to think about this last part as we wrap up. YouTube will pay content creators for putting their content on their platform. Once you reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours on the YouTube platform, your channel is eligible to receive compensation through Google. They'll pay you a check every single month. Now imagine this. Imagine not having to rely on people to give and to sow and to donate. If you focus more on how can I reach more people with this YouTube platform, with the message I have, and getting this to more people to see it, YouTube itself will compensate you for keeping people on their platform. The thresholds that you have to think about are 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I also want you to think about, I want my ministry leaders to think about this, and this is something new that I've been tapping into last year, is the Amazon Affiliates program. I know every church that I've gone to and visited, in some form or fashion, they reference certain books that they want people to study or read about because it might be the topic of the month or the topic of the year. You can incorporate the Amazon Affiliates inside of your YouTube description section that we talked about earlier. And that way, every time people buy that book, the ministry receives a compensation back to them for the affiliate commissions of all the books that are sold. Now, imagine people around the world watching this, and they're actually following you on a regular basis as well. Not only are the people that are in your church, not only are the 20, 30 people in your church buying the book, but there can be thousands of other people that are going to go buy the book because you reference the book and they want to now read the book. I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me personally, where I've talked about a book and I'm just talking about it for my own edification or to maybe quickly give them something. And now they want to know, where can they go buy the book? Okay, where you can go buy it on Amazon, and all I have to do is just put that information in the YouTube description, and then Amazon commissions will compensate you that way. And then finally, courses and classes and events, things like that that you're putting on. If you teach courses, if maybe you have a class, maybe you have an ebook or something that you're promoting outside of ministry or even inside of the ministry, you can still put all that information inside of your YouTube description section. So definitely want you to think about monetization as a big part of ministry. And if you can monetize on the YouTube platform without having to ask someone every single day, or week, or month for that next fish fry, then this is a platform that you could definitely tap into more. If you guys have some quick questions, I think we got 5 minutes, and now I'm definitely going to jump in the networking section to answer some questions over there. But definitely type in questions that you do have. YouTube is just one of the things that I teach. I teach it every single Monday in what I call the Serve Mastermind. So if anybody's interested there, or if you have questions, you want to reach out to me, there is a 15-minute calendar that you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and you can reach out to me to ask me any questions there, maybe just for some clarification, things like that. But I do teach Mondays, or every single Monday I teach YouTube, because it is a powerful platform that you can grow on and leverage. So we do have 5 minutes, so definitely feel free to type in any questions. If anything I can quickly clarify for you all, would love to do so. I appreciate you guys for coming through here. I hope you guys have received some value and some knowledge and some understanding from this session as well. I love teaching on YouTube, the power of YouTube and the digital strategies around it, and the fact that you don't need a whole production team to create YouTube videos. You don't need a whole team to actually go live. You can literally I'm just sitting in front of my computer with the camera. I have my proper lighting on. I have a microphone on, and I'm delivering a message. And that's what I want you guys to think about as well when it comes to just using these platforms in general and live stream. Solomon says, what device instrument would be useful even when we return to church? I noticed YouTube ads in the middle of a video. This is disruptive. Are the ads controlled by YouTube or the programmer? So I'll answer the second question first. So there are ads in YouTube and they can seem disruptive, but the question is, what do you value more? So it's going to be up to you at the end of the day. Do you value the ability to be compensated from YouTube that you can reinvest back into your ministry? Because most of us, I know I do, I skip right past the ads when I'm watching ministry stuff. But if you want to turn the ads off, you can turn them off. You can turn them all off. And so if you are not concerned about the monetization about YouTube, you can turn all the ads off, or you can select where they're placed. So if you only want ads shown at the beginning of the videos, or maybe at the end of the videos, and you don't want anything in the middle, you can turn certain sections of the ads off. So it's completely going to be up to you. The actual ad type is going to be up to you as well. Now, YouTube has incorporated more permissions that allow you to not allow certain ads to play on your videos. Now, most advertisers, putting on the advertiser's hat real quick, most advertisers know where their audience lives at. So they're not going to advertise on certain channels anyway, because their audience is not there. So so you have a lot of flexibility when it actually comes to how the ads are delivered on your channel. To go back to the other question, what device instrument would be useful even when returning to the church? It really depends. Let me know. We got a couple of minutes. Let me know what types of devices particular you're talking about. If it's microphones, I definitely love the lapel microphones to be able to move around on the stage or environment. Lighting is going to be something. I do like audio mixers for people that are moving from like iPhone up, using an audio mixer. But even if you have just an iPhone device, you can actually put it on a tripod and have a lapel like I'm wearing connected to your phone. And that way that audio just sounds better because you're at a further distance away. And no matter where you walk in the building, we can still hear you clearly. So I love lapel microphones, even if you're just using a mobile device. But obviously using a computer, if you have someone that can physically be there to control the setup, that's going to be the best way to live stream, just by having that physical computer. Claudette says, is the lapel mic Bluetooth enabled? Yes. So the one I'm actually wearing now is one that's called a Rode Wireless Go. And it's wireless, not necessarily Bluetooth, but it is wireless. There are some Bluetooth ones on the market, but I literally can walk about 300 feet, I believe, on this one, 150 to 300 feet away, as long as I'm not being interfered with any steel or barriers. And the sound quality is really, really good. And again, there's a lot on the market that allow you to do it. And this is just simply connected directly into my actual camera. So I'm not using any sound mixer, audio mixer. I'm connected right into my camera, and my camera is connected directly into my laptop. And that's the only setup here. Now, if I'm turned around in the opposite direction, I got a little bit more going on that way, but it's really simple to use. I do have a video on YouTube about that as well. But I'm glad you guys were able to stop through here on this session. I'll make sure that I respect the 15 minutes that you guys have for networking as well. I'm going to jump in there as well. And if you guys have any other questions, definitely feel free to view me in the booth or connect with me offline. Hope you guys got some value from this YouTube presentation, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the summit. Thank you.